Hello and welcome to the Crochet Cakes YouTube channel. In today's podcast episode, we're going to be talking about, who am I? Right, so I honestly forgot what I was going to say. I hope that you are doing well. I realize it's been forever and a day since I sat down to have any sort of communication with you guys, because the last video I uploaded to the channel was about the crochet afterthought heel on a knit sock, which I hoped you enjoyed. I thoroughly enjoyed filming it, even though, you know, it was with black yarn, and I am fully intending on reporting back how the heel has worn. That might take a year or two. Why do I look so pale? Like, I look like a ghost. Ooh, that is way too hot to drink. Does it ever happen to you that your tea is either so boiling hot that you can't drink it, or and it's too cool and you end up making iced tea because otherwise it's tepid piss and it's unfortunate. Anyway, back to knit and crochet. So I am working on a knit sock that I will do a crochet afterthought heel for as well, and this one is literally just a knit stitch, so I will report and see how that one goes. I really can't get over how gray I look. Oh. Ooh, that burned all the way down. Ooh. Okay. So, I really hope that you've been keeping well and that you are somewhat sane. If you know, that's an opportunity for you, then hooray! Me, I've been all over the place, to be honest. I've been harebrained, scatterbrained, magpie-ish, however you want to term it. I've just had difficulty concentrating on anything lately, and yeah. If you notice, I'm in a different part of my house today. I am literally sitting in front of a window because it got very gray all of a sudden, and I didn't think the lighting of my artificial light was enough, so I thought, let's sit down in front of the breakfast nook window and just do a podcast there. Not really liking the angle, not really liking the light, but it's better than darkness because... Anyway, on to podcast and YouTube channel and blog and all those things. I would like to say I've been busy because I've been busy behind the scenes working on a finished object, which is a new pattern that you'll get to see. I've been working on commissions, which you will not get to see until next year. So that's part of the big reason I haven't podcasted, was because I've been working on commissions, and also my injury is still, it's not so bad because I've actually kind of stopped crocheting except for those commissions. So it's my wrist, my dequivarians tendonitis or mother's thumb has been given a chance to rest, and I've slowly been picking up more crochet and being very mindful of how I crochet, which brings me back to why I have not podcasted, and that is because who am I, guys? Like, I named myself Crochet Cakes because I thought I was being super clever at that time. I love to crochet and I love to eat cakes. Crochet Cakes. Yeah, but also now I feel very pigeonholed by that name because I don't just crochet, and lately crochet has been the least thing that I do. I've been doing a lot more reading and a lot more baking than anything, mostly because I've been experimenting with a sourdough Mallorca recipe that I will be sending to my newsletter subscribers this month, because we have started Latin History Month, or Hispanic Heritage Month, however you refer to yourself. Latinx, however you refer to yourself. Me, I refer to myself as Hispanic, Latino, Puerto Rican, all those. But yeah, it is Hispanic Heritage Month, and Last year, I shared a little bit of my heritage with you in providing a sofrito recipe, which is the basis for almost all Puerto Rican food deliciousness. But this time I thought I would go a dessert route and kind of incorporate my practice of sourdough baking in it as well. And I wrote it down. I sent it to my sister so that she would try it out, but she actually had to throw away her starters. I don't know if she started it again. She started a new job, so she's been super busy. But anyway, I'm going to be sending out that sourdough Mallorca recipe this month to my newsletter subscribers, so make sure you're subscribed to my newsletter. All the links that you need to find me anywhere on the internet and all the things I reference will be found in the description box below. And I will, of course, endeavor to remember to do chapters so that you can just click on the things you actually want to hear, because you may just be here for the crochet, you may just be here to hear me ramble to a camera. Whatever you fancy, you can choose it. Right. So as I was saying, crochet actually has been the least thing I've done. I actually did sewing. I finished something in sewing. I haven't picked up any embroidery or, well, I have done knitting, which reminds me I need to work on that as if tee because it's supposed to be a Christmas present for my sister. Good thing I started it last year. Right. So I've been doing that, and I also fell down a deep rabbit hole of art journaling, book journaling, junk journaling, however you term it. I've been keeping a kind of bullet planner, not really journal, for the last year because I like to give myself things to write down and enough space to dedicate to the things I want to write down. Of course, I've always felt very intimidated by the idea of bullet journaling because I'm not an artist. Drawing and I, we're very intimate with how dysfunctional we are. I did try Bob Ross painting though. My husband and I did that one evening, and the leaves didn't want to come out of my brush. Acceptable drinking temperature for this tea. I am just drinking it's a new tea for me. It's maple apple cider from Stash. It's a herbal tea. I don't get the maple, but I do get the apple cinnamon notes in there, so I like it. It's good. And it's in my new mug, which made its official debut in my Vogue Knitting Live after hours segment with Chrissy Glass. I will speak to you more about that later because right now we're talking about art journaling. I think I've changed so much topics. Anyway, so I've always been intimidated by bullet journaling because I'm not a great artist. I don't consider that I have pretty handwriting. I think it's because I don't have the patience. And okay, maybe it's not that I don't have the patience. It's that my brain moves a lot faster than my hands. So when I'm writing, I'm already at the end of my sentence thinking it, but my hands are at the beginning of the sentence, and I just try to speed it up so that I can complete a thought without forgetting where I was in said thought process pattern part. But I have been following some accounts on Instagram. I will link them down below as well. And it's like scrapbooking, but with no pictures. And I love it. So I thought I would give it a go. I kind of started in July, very, very basic. I did some watermelons. I used my washi tape because that's another thing. Everybody goes crazy over washi tape and I don't know how to use washi tape. And then we came to August and I was really happy with this one. This is some scrapbooking paper, some more washi tape, stencils, tea, because I love tea, and a little tea quote that I've read to you guys many a time before from Agnes Jekyll, and it's about the spiritual home of the teapot. I love it. If you can get your hands on Agnes Jekyll's book, it's such a great read. She's so quirky. I love it. And so The second page, I just do a quote for that month that I will be referring back to. For August, I had chosen "The essence of life is to communicate love." And most of these actually come from the Yogi tea bags. I love that they have a little quote attached to them. It makes my day to read them. And then we're at September. I really went into it this month. This is just a sticker for the month of September, like a vintage calendar. This is vintage license plates here. These are kind of like vintagey words, and I just ripped this paper and I drew some very wonky leaves down here. Again, not the best drawer, but I love how this page turned out. Now, typically in my journal or bullet planner, diary, whatever you want to call it, I just decorate the first 2 pages of the month because the rest I just really write all over in. So this was September, and then the second part of September, sorry, these, ugh. So for the second part of September, I actually have purchased some little items. So I purchased this washi tape new because it's very vintagey. You can find it at, I think it's Ideology. You can get it at Joann's. And this brown is just a brown paper bag from when you order takeout. I cut that up really pretty. And then the words are dictionary. So I went to Goodwill hoping to find some foreign language books, you know, really old topics I wasn't really interested in, but I wanted to use as ephemera for my journaling. And I have done so, which is very exciting, but also I've just kind of been looking around at all these flyers that you sometimes get in the mail and things like that. And I'm like, yeah, I can work this into my journal. So that is what I'm doing, and I'm really loving it. And I actually hold myself back from not starting all the months of the year because I think I can include some more decorated pages. So when I start my planner, I think October is going to have to be a separate bullet journal. I'm going to dedicate pretty pages to reading, you know, reflections, things like that, to encourage my creativity in a different avenue. And if you, like me, have been afraid of bullet journaling because you don't consider yourself an artist or an organized individual, I am not one of those organized individuals. I mean, I don't consider my, you know. I encourage you to just grab some scrapbooking supplies, which you probably already have, and just put stuff together. You know, it's really fun. So that is one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. And like I said, it was some things that I was toying with whether or not to talk about because my name is Crochet Cakes, you know, and I kind of feel like I just always promised it would be about crochet, and I do so much more than that, and I am so much more than crochet. So thank you if you're still watching, even though I haven't talked about crochet. But I promise we are getting to some crochet now, or at least some crochet related content, because I do want to talk to you about some things moving forward that will be happening to my corner of the internet. So I've really wanted to create an interactive YouTube channel where we're communicating with each other and we rely on each other for encouragement, support. So basically, I really been wanting for a long time to build a strong community. And I think we have that. I think we do chat to each other. It's just that there are so many places we can chat to each other that I think sometimes we lose track of that. So I'm going to set up a Discord server just for the Crochet Cakes community. But I am attaching it to Ko-fi. So if you don't know, I am on Ko-fi, and if you're interested in supporting me, my art, my free patterns, anything that I do, please consider donating to my Ko-fi page. I've had it open for a while, and I was pretty good about kind of uploading content there that I want to upload to my website or to my Instagram. And sometimes, you know, they overlapped because I want you guys to know what I'm doing, but I also want to know what you're doing, hence the Discord. So I thought to attach it, like I said, to my Ko-fi account. I just really need to think about what we're going to be doing with Discord, what channels I'm going to open in Discord, and how I'm going to use Discord to encourage a community. And that's one of the things moving forward. The other thing moving forward also that I've been considering and I've been doing lately is uploading videos that aren't podcasts. I've been uploading more tutorial or process videos of how I'm doing things. If those interest you, then please do let me know. I have to finish one and I have some other ones, not crochet related. I have a sewing one that I was considering just putting in my Ko-fi page. So if you donate money, you can watch. So let me know if those are things that you would be interested in. Would you be interested in vlog type content? I honestly do not think I am an interesting individual, more so than anyone else at least. I mean, I get up, I make breakfast, I drink tea, I walk the dog, you know, it's pretty normal. So those are things I've been considering for the channel moving forward. Other channel admin, Summer Romance Cal officially ended on the 31st of October. So thank you so much to everyone that participated in that. It was very informal. Claudia announced a winner. We chose them from the Instagram feed. There weren't a lot of participants, but it was fun anyway because, you know, it just gives us an avenue to express ourselves and kind of work those creative muscles by doing something different. So in the spirit of the Summer Romance Cal, I actually do have a finished object to share with you. I know, crazy, isn't it? This year, I actually managed to finish my Summer Romance Cal during the Summer Romance Cal. So if you know, the couple that I had chosen to represent in the Summer Romance Cal was a bit unclear because the movie I chose was The Mummy, but as we were going with a paranormal theme, there are two couples in The Mummy that fit that theme, and they are... Yep, you are entirely correct. They are Imhotep and Anaxunamun, as well as Evie and Rick. Evie because, you know, she came back from the dead and she was also reincarnated, same as Anaxunamun. So that's the couple that I chose. And here is the project that I chose. This is the Treasure Island Shawl by Hannah of the Cozy Cottage Crochet. Dee-dee. And as you are seeing in the camera, it's made with 3 different yarns. So the first and main color is such a fluffy, squishy MCN base. It's from Stitchcraft and Wizardry, and it's their Hercule Poirot colorway, which I absolutely love. And then we're following it with some leftover yarn from a cupcake sock pattern that Mom designed and I tested. And this one's more of a sandy champagne-y color, and it's called Little Speckles of Sea Glass because I believe this was called the Sea Glass colorway. I don't remember the dyer. And I ended with a mini skein from Melissa of Acorn Willows. So this actually weighs 140 grams, and that was made using a 5mm hook as opposed to the 5.5mm hook that she suggests or does the gauge for in the pattern. Now, if I would have swatched, I would have probably gone down to a 4.5mm hook. It would have been absolutely fine for this shawl. it still came out very open and lovely, but the 4.5 would have probably only used 120 grams of yarn. That's a thing I have now. Before, I used to be able to crochet shawls without using the full 100 grams. Now I need more than 100 grams because my gauge has loosened up so much. But I'm actually very, very happy with how this shawl turned out. I finished it in New Hampshire while we were staying there with my brother. We went to visit to offer moral support because in the end we couldn't go to the hospital. And I actually started this story right in the middle. I should have started at the beginning. So what happened was my sister-in-law had to have the baby removed. She was in danger of dying, so was the baby. So they removed the baby, but he was 26 weeks old. So he's a nano preemie, and he's been fighting a lot in NICU to make it. He's finally off the ventilator, and they're just monitoring his feeding. He's not doing too well on that front. He's not gaining weight, but we have hope, and we're offering all the love and support that we can. So while I was over there, I didn't have much headspace, so I just crocheted a lot on this Treasure Island shawl. In fact, I finished it in New Hampshire, and it's got very special memories, not just because of the yarn, but because of the feelings I was pouring into this yarn as I was crocheting it, right? Because I wanted to be as full of love as I could be so that he would receive some of that love as well. So yeah, before I cry or I make you cry, let's move on from this finished object and close the Summer Romance Cal for 2021. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about in terms of crochet is that I finally released the green cardigan you've been looking at. It is the Vintage Echo cardigan, and I'm going to put some pictures here because I don't think this camera setup allows for you to view the cardigan comfortably. So while we watch these pictures and maybe a little reel or two, because I made 2 reels for this cardigan, let's talk about it. So this cardigan is asymmetrical in a lot of ways. First off, we've got 2 different body panels. We've got a left body panel, which is with the faux bobble stitch, and we've got a right body panel, which is with a vintage stitch that I'm calling the Lazy Daisy stitch. And in addition to that, we have lace weight sleeves. These are done in lace weight yarn and a DK and a DC stitch, double crochet stitch. And at the bottom we also have some separate details. It is longer in the back than in the front by, I would say, 2 inches at the most. I have steam blocked it. I have not wet blocked it because this is cotton bamboo blend. So I steamed it. I steamed the sleeves as well. I did not wet block the sleeves. Please do not wet block the sleeves. They will grow to astronomical proportions. I'm not kidding there. But I am very, very happy. Of course, now that the design is finished and hindsight is 2020, there are several things that I would have done differently. Personally, I think I would have loved to have 2 different colors of yarn because this was made and completely inspired by a vintage top that I own that actually has a daisy fabric and then a polka dot fabric on the side. So that's what I tried to imitate here. But I think I would have also loved it if it had different colors of yarn, not Harry Styles kind of different colors, but you know, some complementary colors in addition to the different stitches. Also, I may have chosen a different kind of yarn. I do love the drape of the cotton bamboo blend yarn, but the metal buttons kind of distort the cardigan or sweater a little bit, so I think that was a mistake on my part to put such heavy buttons on this cardigan, but I at least made sure to stabilize it with some ribbon. If you notice, there is no button band because I had put a button band, or I started crocheting a button band, but I didn't like how it looked actually. I felt it added, I don't know, I didn't like the offset way it looked. So I decided to take off the button band and just have the buttons go directly into the holes of the stitch. And oh, the cuffs are a little bit gathered. I think I would have liked actually to gather them a lot more than I did, so I should have not decreased for the sleeve until I was really here, and it decreased drastically there. Just like when you're sewing a pattern, your sleeves are a very drastic spot of decreases, I think. But overall, I'm very happy with this vintage Echo cardigan slash sweater. I'm going to be using it mostly as a sweater, but I just like it, you know. And one of my favorite features of this cardigan is the faux bobble panel and the collar. I am so in love with this collar. I am crazy about a collar, and I'm very glad I managed to incorporate that. In terms of shaping, there really isn't a lot of shaping in this pattern. Honestly, the shaping is more provided by the yarn that I used because of the way the cotton bamboo falls. That is what provides the shaping in the pattern. So in terms of that, I would say it's kind of easy to intermediate, just because the decreases are a little bit finicky, and you know, there's decreases and then there's increases for the collar and where you pick up stitches. That might be a little inconvenient if you've never done it before, but I think you can do it. As always, this pattern is available for free on my blog, or there is a paid for PDF, and the paid for PDF includes visual help, it's video, of some parts of the pattern, like the collar, the bottom border, doing the cuff. And I did record a stitch tutorial for what I'm calling the Lazy Daisy stitch. I just need to edit it and upload it to my YouTube channel. We had to pause for some tea because it's gonna get cold. So that is what I'm calling the first of my fall releases. And the other fall themed project I am working on is a sock. As you know, for the past 3 years, for October, I've released a pair of socks, a sock pattern, I mean, and I'm very excited about this year's sock pattern. Right, let's just jump right in and show you. I didn't bring a sock blocker because why would I think about that type of thing? But here I am holding it up to the screen. It is a very fall-like colorway. We have some gold for the toe and the color work that is in the sock, as well as the bottom of the heel. And this is in SRCAL Coupe Knits. Color Sphene, S-P-H-E-N-E. Okay, so that's the contrast color. It's this SRCAL is a very thin fingering weight, and I'm actually pairing it with a plump fingering weight for the main color, which is this lovely cake from Crafternoon Treats. This is Marushka the Firebird. I believe this was a limited, oh no, oh my god, I was doing something crazy, guys. I was pulling the cake to show it to you, but I forgot I was crocheting the second socks, so I pulled out a whole row of stitches. Okay, anyway, so this is from Crafternoon Treats, and it is her Koripol sock, Marushka the Firebird. This was the thing, and it brings a little story of Marushka on the top. This is 400 meters in 100 grams, so it's plump, and I absolutely loved working with it. I love it. It's kind of like a creamy, buttery base of yellow. And then it's got specks of fuchsias, blues, oranges, light yellows, some little bits of green thrown in there as well. I just think it's a beautiful colorway, and it actually shows up really well in crochet. I purchased this yarn specifically for this sock pattern, by the way. It's been a long time. It's been waiting for a long time because this one she released for her Christmas Advent, and she had a couple left over, so she sold them, I think, late January, maybe. Anyway, so this is my colorwork sock. I am absolutely in love with this pattern. This one will be coming out in October, 1st October. And I'm also working on a little tutorial so that if you've never crocheted a sock before, you can work it along with me. I haven't actually looked at the footage of that. I'm thinking it may not be good footage just because of the setup I have when I record. My tripod is still pretty tall, so you're pretty far away, and I'm working with fingering weight yarn. But I'm hoping that in the editing process I can just zoom in and bring you closer to what I'm doing. If not, I don't know, I might have to just grab some worsted weight yarn and work that up. So that's my second fall project. And my third fall project is something that I've already shared with you because I was working on it last year, but I ripped it all back and I'm working it again, much more methodically this time. Clarissa has learned. She has learned a lot. But this is a top. The color is completely off on camera. Do not look at that lie. It's a little bit more gray than it's showing up on camera. This is the Cadet colorway from Knit Picks or We Crochet Official. And I'm working just, you know, a sweater and some simple stitches. It's going to hopefully be fitted, kind of like a 1950s fitted or 1940s fitted. You know, Andy Satterlund style where they're fitted and then they just tuck in and they end right where your hips begin. That's the style of sweater I'm going for here. And that's hopefully what I get. I am working it with a 6.5mm hook because there are slip stitches in this pattern, and I always find that when you're working slip stitches it's better to have a bigger hook to remind yourself to have a looser tension. It's living in my macaroon bag, and I'll just slip this on so you can kind of see, because we start at the back and then we work our tabs and we move to the front and we start working flat and then we end up working in the round. It's pretty easy. The reason I had froked it is because I thought the armholes were too big, but I'm looking at them now and I still think the armholes are way too big, so we will see. I'm also hoping to do kind of like a puff sleeve on this one because I've been dying to design a pattern with puff sleeves for the longest time. Now, as I said, this is the We Crochet Wool of the Andes worsted weight. This one is super wash. It is the Cadet color, which is my favorite color from that range. I was super sad when I thought they discontinued it. I kid you not, I was super sad because I had only bought 2 balls to kind of do a swatch with the yarn to see if I liked it. I loved it. So that is my third project. I'm hoping to release that one in November. I really wanted to have a strong fall collection beginning with a cardigan because I think a cardigan is a good transitional piece. You can wear it alone, as a sweater. You can wear it, you know, when it's a bit chilly at night. And then I wanted to continue with a pair of socks because it's already tradition to release a pair of socks for Socktober. And then I wanted to close it off with a nice warm woolly sweater. So I think if my dates kind of pan out, I'm good at doing that. I've been good at doing that. Perhaps when I release them all, I might just do kind of like a little ebook kind of thing, little discount for you guys, and we'll see. Well, I'll let you know once I've moved forward with the plans. So You know, for someone that was afraid of podcasting because she didn't have any crochet to talk about, I certainly have a lot of crochet to talk about right now. I guess if you wait long enough, you'll always have crochet to talk about, which is, of course, a good thing. And in the spirit of moving forward and having lots of things to talk to you about, I actually made a list because I always forget to say stuff. So I'm sorry, well, inevitable when you're a crochet designer. Most of the projects you actually end up working are your own, but I'm glad that I had time to finally make Hannah's Treasure Island shawl. I think I had already started it in a Miss Muffet yarn colorway for Northanger Abbey, which I love that book. I identify with Catherine Morland, that's why I love it so much. Anyway, but now that I've made this one, I'm definitely going to make the other one in a 4.5mm hook. No shame, because I will not have more purple yarn to finish that one. So it has to be made in a smaller hook so I can have the correct gauge. Yes. Other things that I wanted to talk to you about were upcoming things. These are still crochet related, by the way, but they are a little bit further ahead. So I had mentioned some commissions. Yes. So one of those commissions I fulfilled, I want to say months ago, possibly January, maybe. And it was for Crochet ! This is a US crochet magazine. And this is their home decor, garments, accessories, and more. This is a special issue that they released for quick and easy crochet. And I have a pattern here. Technically, this is my first time being published in a magazine because it's the first of my patterns that came out in a magazine. The next one is going to be in Moorit, which I'm sure you've seen because I've talked about it. So this was the hat I designed for, or submitted for this issue of We Crochet. It is a very basic colorwork hat made in bulky yarn so you can finish it quickly. And I got the diamond pattern from a knit book that I have, a knitting book that I have. It was a knit sweaters or something, and it was a colorwork sweater, but I pulled out just this one little chart that I put into a bulky hat, and I actually am meaning to make one for myself. It's called the Black Diamond hat. Now, if you are interested, grab yourself a copy of this magazine. I got mine at Joann's in New Hampshire because they bought the rights to the pattern, which means this pattern will never come back to me unless the magazine shuts down. And I'll never have the rights to this pattern. I'll never be able to sell this pattern in my Etsy shop or do a tutorial for this pattern or anything like that. Okay, this belongs to Annie's Publishing. But I'm so happy. Yay! So, as I said, this is a special issue, but I'm not just happy because I'm there. There are so many nice patterns here. I really like this. Oh my God, I'm trying to find it. And of course, I really like this filet bag. It's a nice reusable market bag without, you know, being so holy that I think my vegetables are going to fall through. And there's just quirky little projects like that. And there's this scarf. I think it's brilliant. It's color work of some kind, and it's got pockets and a hoodie. So it's called the Tessellation Hooded Scarf by Joyce Geisler, or Geisler. You can see. So that is a magazine that's out now, and I'm featured in it, which is very exciting. The next one that's going to be out is Moorit, and I've designed a sock for Moorit magazine, and I'm excited. That one hits the market soon. I think pre-orders for international Orders have already closed, so if you're international like me, because the magazine is based in Scotland, I would be considered international, then pre-orders are closed. But wait and see, there is a release party coming up on the end of September. Check out Moorit mag for Instagram to keep up to date with when it will be released, what's going on in the magazine, any promotions, any type of giveaways, all those lovely things. Please check it out. As always, link in the description box below. The other things I wanted to mention is I've received 2 gifts, and one of them was a while ago, but I was saving it for something special. So a while ago, Zebra Kitten on Instagram had written to me that she'd won a giveaway, but it was in the US, and with all the issues with the postage and Brexit and all that, she didn't want to go, it's put the person through the trouble. So she said, can I gift my win to someone? And she chose me. She has been a long-time viewer of this podcast. I met her at EYF the first time. No, I believe it was the second time I went. Yes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the second time I went because Mom was there. And I met her at EYF. She was so nice and so amazing. And she just gave me this gift. It's a gift card for a Furls crochet hook. And I finally used it because I was waiting for their lime hooks to be back in stock. Of course, I had to get it in green, and specifically the size 3.75. Furls, I don't think you watch my podcast, but please make a 3mm crochet hook. Or actually, well, it would be cool, but I think I may just purchase a 2.75 and compare it to my gauge with the tulip 3mm, because I think it will be similar. I have a very loose gauge when I use a Furls crochet hook. So yeah. Anyway, so that was the first gift. And then right when I traveled to, or before I went to New Hampshire, no, Allie was the one that was traveling. Yeah. So Allie from Starry Eyes Allie, she gifted 2 of her patterns to me. One is for the Little Drop of Wonderful, which is a little squish amigurumi toy that I am going to make and give one to my sister this Christmas, because I think it's just the cutest thing to tell someone that they are a little drop of wonderful, that you think that, because no matter how we view ourselves, it's always nice when we hear other people appreciate us too. So I love that idea that Allie designed her Little Drop of Wonderful amigurumi toy. I think it's the cutest thing ever, and I'm going to be making it. I will be making it. You heard it here in this podcast. I am making that. So those were gifts that I've received in the past couple of months that I hadn't shared with you because I don't know. I guess I was holding them back, and I wanted to kind of bask in their glory a little bit and then share them. It seems so silly now, like I should have just shared it with you guys, because I know you would have been happy for me too. Other things been going on in my life. Well, I briefly mentioned in the beginning VKL, so that's Vogue Knitting Live. I got invited back to do a panel with them. The first panel that I did with them was for the BIPOC with Janet Sloan, who is one very brave lady. She's sadly lost her husband a couple of weeks ago, and that's always, so much death that you read about, right? And then you kind of removed from it until it's happens to someone you know, or someone you've made some sort of connection with, and then it really hits you. So yeah, I don't think you watch my podcast, Janet, but I'm sending you a huge hug, and definitely a kiss and a hug, and just whatever else you need. Okay, so that was the first time I came out in a Vogue Knitting Live panel, and they invited me back this time for the Chrissy Glass After Hours show. It was on the 11th of September. That's when we had the After Hours panel we had a moment of silence for the commemoration of 9/11, and also because the person who originally hosted the After Hours show passed away a year ago as well, so we commemorated that right at the beginning, and then we got to meet some wonderful people. I'll include a link to all the people that participated in the Vogue Knitting Live panel, and then when I mean link, I mean their Instagram. Sorry about that, guys. My memory card was full and I don't remember what we were talking about. I mentioned gifts, I mentioned VKL. We were right at the end, right? So what else have I been up to? I've been doing a lot of reading. I mentioned that, I think. Still reading the Longbourn book that I shared in the previous podcast, but I did read a new Pride and Prejudice book. It's on Kindle, and it is positively the most expensive ebook I purchased to date. It was $12.99. It's titled Unequal Affections, and I loved it. It is I guess we can call them Pride and Prejudice fan fiction because that is the base of it. But it basically asks the question of what would have happened if Lizzie had actually accepted Mr. Darcy's first proposal, the one he made at when they were at Rosings. Yeah, that's the one. So it starts from there, and it just, I think it's pretty loyal to the characters that Jane Austen had written. But not only that, I love this exploration. You just change this one point and it kind of just changes the entire story. You still see a lot of character growth from Mr. Darcy as well as Elizabeth. A lot of introspection, of course, because now the changes in the characters aren't happening from them being apart and thinking about things. It's happening from them being closer together and thinking all this through and talking about it. So I really liked it. If you have money to spare and you don't mind the $12.99 Kindle purchase, then I recommend it. Before you purchase it, she does have the free chapter 1. I think the prologue and chapter 1 are available to be read for free from fanfiction.net, so I'll link that down below, and that way you can see if it's something that you actually would be interested in reading. So I've read that one, and I did buy, I didn't know Pride, Prejudice and Zombies had a second part, so I bought that from a thrift store in New Hampshire called Listen. And I don't know how you feel about Pride and Prejudice. I found it hilarious. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that book. Also liked the movie. Let's see how I enjoyed this second, the sequel to Pride, Prejudice and Zombies. It's on the queue because first I have to finish Longbourn, as I said, which is a kind of, I guess, you know, it's based on Pride and Prejudice, but it's told from the point of view of Sally, their maid, and how Sally starts questioning things around her and becoming very aware of the differences in station and how she sometimes resents the lack of growth because you're always taking care of somebody else's family, but you never have that opportunity to take care of your own family. So I'm really liking that book too. And yeah, what else can I tell you? Oh, I purchased Vogue Knitting, the magazine, mixed media. It's a beautiful issue. It's got so many pretty things, so many pretty patterns. I don't know how many of the patterns I'll make because they're knitting, but I thought it was great to explore silhouettes and explore trends that are coming and just all that type of thing, just to keep in the know with all the happenings in the fiber community. I am trying to find the pattern that I think I will attempt just because it looks simple-ish to me. Also, I love how they did this style guide, and they asked different people to wear some knit items to see how they would wear them. I really like that. So they were playing a lot with light and shadow. I really like this one. I think I would actually make the body knit and then the sleeves crochet, because the bobble stitch is so much easier in crochet. So this is one that I would attempt. I love the texture in this one. So there are definitely things to take away from this magazine that I do not regret purchasing it. I think I got this one at Walmart in New Hampshire. Oh, and almost forgot, the reason I bought this issue was because Kay Jones of the Bakery Bear podcast, she designed a sock for this magazine. It's called Obata. Lovely texture, reinforced heels, and rounded toes are just a few of the perfect details making these masterful socks a joy to knit from top to toe. It's made with Valley Yarns Charlemont designer K.F. Jones. So congratulations to Kay. I mean, she's always made some wonderful sock patterns. There was a point where I just considered myself firmly a crocheter that I still bought almost all her patterns. Shawl wise, I loved her shawls. I've actually knit the Ollivander shawl, and I believe I've knit 2 of her socks. I did the Prairie socks and the Jemima socks. Yes. Oh, and I did her hat, the angel hat as well. So I've done a couple of her designs, and I know she writes them really clear and precise, so I'm excited to tackle that one at some point. It's in the queue, guys. Other non-crafty things. Watched Cruella. Did you watch Cruella? I'm currently obsessed with that movie. The fashion was, it was beautiful. I thought Emma Stone did a great job, and I thought it was so much different from the Cruella of, you know, the original 101 Dalmatians. But I think when we were little kids, you know, we needed that clear-cut villain, but now as an adult, you sometimes have a more cynical view of the world. So the movie really appealed to me. I thought it was very well done. The soundtrack, well, not the soundtrack, like the official playlist. If you have iTunes, if you pay for iTunes, you can look up the official Cruella playlist. I've been obsessively listening to it forever. Not because the songs are new to me. I've listened to those songs before. I just remembered how much I like them. And I am absolutely dying to make one of her outfits in crochet because it was beautiful. I'll leave you to guess. Guess down below which of her outfits I want to make in crochet. And it's not the entire outfit, it's a part of her outfit. So comment down below if you've watched Cruella. Which outfit do you think I'm referring to? I really want to know. So that is it from me to you. I hope that we've covered all the bases. As always, feel free to keep the conversation going by commenting, liking, subscribing, emailing me, tagging me on Instagram, posting in my community thread. Let's just have a nice long chat, guys, and immerse ourselves into the beauty that is yarn so we can please crochet this world a better place, or knit, or felt. Just craft the world a better place. Which reminds me, I need to put together the box that I'm going to be sending for donations with all the crochet that no longer fits me. It's being given away. And I wrote down little tags of the fiber content and all of that. Right, thank you so much for spending a little bit of crafty time with me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I've managed to keep you company while you were crocheting or cooking or I don't know, whatever it is that you're doing. I thank you for spending that little bit of time with me, and I will see you in my next video. If you are interested in just keeping up with me all the time, Instagram is the way to go. And when we have Discord, that'll be the way to go as well. But yes, guys, so this is me signing off from me to you. Happy crafting. Bye.